I recently looked at this 2007 video and decided to add my voice to any text that I wrote myself. I have removed an outdated website address of mine. Words about the exhibits themselves are unchanged. Web and YouTube footnotes access further information. I've added as a prelude all 10 comments that have been written about the video by viewers.
Policeman Andrew, are you bitter perchance? Stew's magic box, not so much a hall of shame as a load of whining.
Traffic 7-1, what a pathetic loser you are! Have you not got anything better to do with your time? You are the type of idiot who spends their entire life complaining about everything. What a shit video! Answer Clark, how about you stop looking for ways in which you can complain about the police and actually look at all the hard and good work they do, which far outnumbers the mistakes. No system is perfect. Being a police officer is hard work, and most people who complain about them could not do the job themselves.
Dan 101 UK. I just know better than to take everything I see on the internet as fact. Check out this guy's websites and the videos. He seems to think the whole world is against him. Dan 101 UK. Dear oh dear, why do you buy into the ramblings of a madman? James Ashley has nothing to do with this, and there is no Sussex constabulary, and he's clearly a nut. DNA LP4OG. PSE, contact me urgently. I have some vital info for you.
Chris Geacock, have you ever thought of saying, maybe it isn't Sussex Police, PSD, Sussex Police Authority or the IPCC? Maybe it's me? Why do conspiracy nuts like you feel the need to spread this shite all over the internet? Clarky344. I cannot believe you have just wasted 10 minutes of my life reading that boring shit. Good God, man, get a life. Exhibits are dishonest or unprofessional police officers, those who support them by working in an organisation which practices institutional dishonesty, and their associates in the Sussex Police Authority and the Independent Police Complaints Commission. Exhibit 1, Sergeant Dogberry. Role: this dishonest bully boy was the investigating officer after I was attacked by an ex-policeman in 2002. Sergeant Dogberry tried to make me accept the account of the assault given by my assailant, an ex-policeman, an inveterate liar. When I did not agree to drop the matter, he refused to allow me to make a witness statement. Presumably it was he who entered a dishonest account of the incident in the crime reporting system. Exhibit 2, Acting Inspector Beresford. Role: deputed to deal with my complaints about Exhibit 1, which had been sent to Sussex Police via the Police Complaints Authority. Could well be represented by a blank screen. This person visited me to discuss my complaints and seems to have taken no other action whatever. A dishonest record about the assault on me in 2002 remained in the crime reporting system. A dishonest record remained in the complaints register. Exhibit 3, Chief Constable Jones. Role: responsible for the actions of Exhibit 1 and the inaction of Exhibit 2. When addressing the Morris inquiry into professional standards in the Metropolitan Police, a force which had experienced very serious problems with police corruption, this creep said, "I believe that support primarily flows from the confidence those policed have in our values that we exemplify integrity, moral courage, impartiality, duty, and honour. He was mistaken. Exhibit 4, P.C. Wilkinson. Role, relatively inexperienced police constable. After I had complained of a further example of harassment from a neighbour who had threatened and assaulted me, P.C. Wilkinson arrived and compared my problems with this neighbour to children quarrelling in the playground. After I had complained of abusive language from neighbours, P.C. Wilkinson told me that we have free speech in this country. When making a statement under caution for Sussex Police Professional Standards Department, P.C. Wilkinson lied. Exhibit 5, P.C. Francis. Role, relatively experienced police constable. Arrested me with the help of the ex-policeman who had harassed me for 5 years and assaulted me twice, and withheld from me the ex-policeman's witness statement which made my arrest possible, falsified police documents and a record of taped interview, closed my website down as I refused to alter or omit what I had recorded about his, quote, investigation of assaults by 3 neighbours, presumably responsible for breaking one of my cameras and deliberately sabotaging my computers. When interviewed for the Professional Standards Department inquiry into my complaints, P.C. Francis lied. Exhibit 6, Police Inspector Brown. Role, Inspector at Hailsham Police Station. Police Inspector Brown told me that he was responsible for the work of P.C. Francis. So he was responsible for my arrest, for falsified documentation about me, for the withholding of evidence, and for the destruction of some of my property, though he had been given ample evidence that I was the victim and not the perpetrator of harassment. He failed to register complaints that I made to him. My conclusion on a web page about Police Inspector Brown was that he, quote, is not fit for the post he holds. Exhibit 7, Chief Inspector Matthews. Role, District Commander in charge of Wealden District. Some complaints sent to Chief Inspector Matthews either via Sussex Police Authority or directly were not registered or even acknowledged. When eventually Chief Inspector Matthews did respond to correspondence, the only particular interest he showed was in whether I would be pursuing a compensation claim for damage to my property. Some of the police malpractice going on in his district at the time is documented on the page at this address. Exhibit 8, Detective Inspector Preddy. Role, works in the Professional Standards Department. Detective Inspector Preddy wrote a dishonest report on some of my complaints after I had complained to Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary. He failed to consider key documents and ignored evidence from me. As a result, I suggested that the Professional Standards Department, quote, would be more suitably called the Department for the Defence of Liars and Vandals in Police Service. Detective Inspector Preddy ensured that I could not be given information by other police employees about how my property was damaged, some of it deliberately. Exhibit 9. 2 of many time servers. Mrs. C. Baldwin, responsible for a property store. This person forwarded a letter from me asking for information about my property to Detective Inspector Preddy, who did not answer it. Staff at the High-Tech Crime Unit at Sussex House. When I emailed them asking about a broken camera, the reply was, Details passed to D.I. Preddy to make further inquiries, and that was the last I heard of it. These are representatives of a dishonest and secretive system which is reflected in most of the pages on my website and some of GGM11's videos on YouTube. Exhibit 10, Mr. P. Burtonshaw. Role Information Compliance Manager. When, using the Data Protection Act, I asked for a copy of a witness statement which had led to my arrest and damage to my property by the police, this person refused my request because he had a, quote, duty of confidentiality towards the person who had signed the statement. That person was presumably the ex-policeman who had assaulted me twice and who had been harassing me for 5.5 years using abusive language, postal and courier services, telephone calls in the middle of the night, and threats of violence in an attempt to make me move house. Exhibit 11A, Sergeant Maloney. Role, works in the Professional Standards Department. Answered my letter to the Chief Constable asking for a complaint to be recorded and for me to have a copy of a witness statement by ignoring the first request and refusing the second. Exhibit 11B, Acting Inspector Maloney. Role, works in the Professional Standards Department. Answered letters I wrote to the Chief Constable asking for complaints about 2 dishonest records in the Sussex Police Crime Reporting System to be recorded by refusing to record them. Exhibit 12. Detective Inspector Bryce. Role, works in the Professional Standards Department. After I had referred 3 serious complaints to the Independent Police Complaints Commission, Detective Inspector Bryce wrote to tell me that Sussex Police were requesting a dispensation so that they did not have to investigate those complaints. As the Police Reform Act 2002 certainly does not allow a dispensation in my case, the person who decided to apply for a dispensation was either abominably ignorant or cynically dishonest. Exhibit 13. Chief Constable Edwards. Role, responsible for Sussex Police from February 2006 to September 2007. Chief Constable Edwards was responsible for the deplorable state of the complaint system during his term of office and for the continuation of the culture of cover-up which he inherited from his predecessor. Malpractice and dishonesty in the force have presumably continued unchecked as a consequence. Annex 1. Sussex Police Authority. By law, a police authority must, quote, secure the maintenance of an efficient and effective police force for its area. The complacent Sussex Police Authority's relationship with its police force is one of mutual congratulation, and it functions more as a public relations and promotional group instead of representative individuals devoted to informed and critical monitoring of police performance for the benefit of the public. The authority and its replacement feature in a number of YouTube videos. The chairman of the authority announces the appointment of a new chief constable from October the 1st, 2007.
And I'm pleased to say that Mr. Stuart Richards of Wiltshire Constabulary has agreed to take up the position. It's been formally offered to him.
Exhibit 1. Councillor Rogers, Liberal Democrat. Role, Chair of Complaints Committee. By law, a police authority must monitor complaints. In practice, the committee members mostly accept the results of police bean counting, and if they do stop to examine an actual bean, do not query whether it was the original article rather than an anodyne substitute slipped in by an officer. Most beans are not kept anyway, so the committee do not monitor most complaints. Exhibit 2. Councillor Mortimer, Labour Ifield. Role, Vice Chair of Complaints Committee. In my experience, the most striking contribution to the thinking of the authority by this individual came when, travel by horse having been superseded by quicker methods, the Home Secretary wanted police forces to combine. Councillor Mortimer said of the proposal,
"It's been connived in some little steamy hole in Whitehall with half a dozen people smoking fags."
And he added,
"The Home Secretary is not God."
Annex 2, the Independent Police Complaints Commission. The IPCC aver we set standards for the way the police handle complaints. The work of the first 3 exhibits in this annex displays partiality, ignorance and dishonesty, not attitudes that one would want to encourage in a police force. The IPCC is another product of the Home Office that is not fit for purpose. Exhibit 1. Mr. N. Jasper. Role, IPCC Casework Manager. Mr. Jasper produced a report on my first 8 complaints, which reminds one of the desperate rhetorical devices of a well-paid lawyer attempting to whitewash the character of a criminal in court. In my report on his report, I refer to Mr. Jasper as unprincipled scum. The title of my report is An IPCC Whitewash. Exhibit 2, Mr. N. Broyd. Role, IPCC Casework Manager. Mr. Broyd's report on my 3 complaints illustrates how little the IPCC need to know about a case before they consider themselves in a position to make a judgment which, according to them, can only be overturned by the High Court. The astonishing ignorance of Mr. Broyd could have arisen from complete reliance on information provided by Sussex Police. Exhibit 3, Mr. A. Soramakan. Role, IPCC Casework Manager. Although he showed practically no knowledge of my case, this individual granted a dispensation to Sussex Police so they would not have to investigate my allegations of malpractice, dishonesty and corruption. He did this despite the law not allowing him to do so, and despite Sussex Police not having recorded one of my complaints, though recording was a prerequisite for the granting of a dispensation. Exhibit 4. Ms. N. Williams, IPCC Commissioner for Sussex. Mr. N. Hardwick, Chair of the IPCC. Ms. Williams wrote to my MP. 1 paragraph briefly outlined the stage my case had reached. The other 3 paragraphs publicised the role of the IPCC. Of the chairman I know little except that he takes an interest in cases that make the national media.